Make a slip knot and chain 10. Single crochet into the second chain from the hook and continue making single crochet in each chain all the way until the end. At the end, chain 1, turn your work. Now you are going to work into back loops only. So start making a single crochet into that very first stitch from the hook, and remember you're only working into back loops, and continue making single crochet in each stitch back loop all the way until the second last stitch. Into the last stitch, make a single crochet into both loops to avoid your work from overstretching. At the end, chain 1, turn your work. The turning chain 1 does not count as a stitch, and you're going to repeat that row until you get a total of 88 rows, or equivalent to 44 rows if you are counting them in a multiple of 2, or it's actually depending on the size you want. In my case, I'm making size small, so I'm only going to make until 88 rows. For the last row, just make a single crochet into that last stitch, but leave it incomplete like that because you are going to complete it with a different yarn color, and you're going to work across the ribbing part or with the ribbing panel. Just fold the other yarn like that and pull through those yarn to complete your single crochet. Chain 1 to fully secure your work, and you can cut off the yarn that you have used to make your ribbing panel. Make a double crochet into that same stitch and continue making double crochet in each stitch across the ribbing panel all the way until the end. At the end, you make sure you have a total of 88 double crochet stitches. And remember to work in your yarn tails to avoid having so many yarn ends at the end if you want, but if you don't want, you can just leave them behind to come weave them in later. Make a double crochet into that last stitch, chain 1, turn your work, and remember the turning chain 1 does not count as a stitch. Make a double crochet into that very first stitch from the hook and just continue making double crochet in each stitch all the way until the end. At the end, just make sure that last double crochet stitch you are going to leave it halfway because you are going to complete it with a different yarn color, because for this sweater vest you are going to make it stripes. Leave those last 2 loops like that, and you are going to complete that last double crochet stitch with the other yarn color. Just pull through those loops, chain 1 to secure your work, and you can cut off that other yarn color you have started with, which is the purple one in this case. Double crochet into that very first stitch from the hook and just continue making double crochet in each stitch all the way until the end. At the end, you are still going to complete the last double crochet stitch with the other yarn color you have started with, which is the purple one. For the blue one, you're only going to use it for 1 row, and the purple one, you're going to use it for 2 rows. It's actually depending on the yarn colors you have, but I'm actually explaining according to the yarn colors that I'm using. Complete that last double crochet stitch the same way you have been completing other double crochet stitches, and you're just going to alternate between the purple one and the blue one. Remember, the purple one you're going to do it for 2 rows, and the blue one you're only going to do it for 1 row, and you're just going to alternate between like that until your part measures at least 9 to 9.5 inches long, including the ribbing panel if you are making size small. Once you are done, try to make one more identical panel to make two of them, because one is going to be the front part and the other one is going to be the back part, of which both of them, the bottom parts is the same and they must be measuring the same measurement. For the last row, just complete that normal double crochet with that same yarn color, chain one and cut off the yarn, because next you're going to start making one panel per panel, front panel separate and the back panel separate, and of which they are both going to be done in a different way. Counting from the first stitch until the 10th stitch on both sides, and you're going to do the same thing on the other panel as well, because by doing this you are shaping the armholes. Using one of the panel, make a slip knot and you're going to start working into that marked stitch. Chain 1 to fully attach your yarn and make a double crochet back into that same stitch, and just continue making double crochet in each stitch all the way until the other marked stitch. Make a double crochet into that last marked stitch, chain 1, turn your work, and repeat the same process you have been doing. And remember, you're going still to alternate between those two yarn colors, and you're still going to switch your yarn the same way you have been switching from the beginning. Repeat until your part measures at least 16.5 inches. And that's for the back panel only. I continued with the purple yarn color only because the blue one got finished, but if you still have some more other yarn color with a different yarn color, you can continue making the straps. It measures about 16 to 16.5 inches, and it must be the same measurement you're going to use for the front panel as well. For the front panel, after the third row, actually you start going to shape the V-neck, of which you're going to fold the panel like that and start marking the middle stitch where you are going to start making the V-neck. Or try to count from each end and try to mark the 33rd stitch. Still sticking to the same pattern, but this time around you're only going to work from that end to that marked stitch. You're going to work one side only until you are done with one side, then you're going to start working on the other side, of which both sides are only front panels. The last 2 stitches of which the marked one and the other one before it, you're going to work them 2 together because you had start to decrease to form the v-neck. Chain 1, turn your work and decrease again those first 2 stitches by making them 2 stitches as one. Just continue making double crochet in each stitch all the way until the end. At the end, again, just switch to the other yarn color, and I'm going to meet you once you reach this other end to show you how you're going to switch to the other yarn color by switching again. Continue decreasing until you have a total of 23 stitches. Or until you're satisfied with the size of your sweater vest, and you must do the same thing on the other side by starting a net marked stitch back and forth until both sides are equal. At the end, chain 1, cut off the yarn, but you must leave a long yarn tail for joining your pieces together. Make sure when you are joining, the wrong side must be out and the right side must be in. As you can see, the ribbing panel have 2 sides, so you must be able to determine which one is the wrong side and which one is the right side. So which means for the panel that's down, the wrong side must be facing down, and the panel that will be on top, the wrong side must be facing up. You are going to join the sides of the sweater vest and shoulder parts using a yarn needle. Before joining, just make sure all your pieces are straight. In order to know which stitch to start with for the back panel, try to count until you have the same number of stitches as the one for the front panel you are working with. And that's the stitch you're going to start working in. Make sure you are grabbing both loops for each panel. Repeat doing that all the way until the end, and it's the same thing you're going to do on the other side of the shoulders. as well as both sides of the sweater vest. Start off by making a slip knot, and you can start in any stitch, and just remember when you are doing the edgings, the right side must be out. I have done a mistake by doing it with the wrong side out, but you must do it with the right side out. And you're going to start off by making a double crochet in each stitch all the way around with that same yarn color, which is the purple one in my case, but the ribbing part you're going to do with the different yarn color, the same yarn color you have done for the bottom ribbing part. Always chain 1 to fully secure your yarn. And continue making double crochet in each stitch all the way around until the end. At the end, just try to slip stitch on top of the first stitch you have started with to join your work, and remember both sides of your armholes must have the same number of stitches. Do the same thing around the neck as well before you go to the other armhole. At the end, always try to slip stitch on top of the first double crochet stitch you have started with, chain 1, cut off the end, because next you are going to use a different yarn color to make your ribbing part the same as the bottom part. This is how your edges must be looking like, the neckline and the armholes. If you want, you can just leave it like this, or if you want, you can go ahead with the ribbing parts. To make the ribbing panel, make a slip knot, and you're going to start in any stitch of your choice, which is actually at the bottom part of the V-neck. Chain 1 to fully attach your yarn, and you can add more 4 chains, the one that you're going to use for your ribbing part, because this chain 1 is only for attaching the yarn to the part. Single crochet into the second chain from the hook, and just continue making single crochet in each stitch all the way until the end. At the end, you must have a total of only 3 stitches. Slip stitch into the next stitch around the neck as well as into the next stitch. Slip stitch into the first 2 stitches around the neck, chain 1, turn your work, and you're going to work in 2 back loops only to make the ribbing parts again. Single crochet into that very first stitch from the hook, but you're only working into the back loops, and continue making single crochet in each stitch back loop until the second last stitch. Into the last stitch, single crochet into both loops for the last stitch, chain 1, turn your work, single crochet into the very first stitch from the hook, but remember to always work only into back loops, and all the way until the end. At the end, you must always slip stitch into the first 2 stitches around the neck, chain 1, turn your work, and you must repeat doing that all the way until the end. try to bring a little bit one side, a bit on top of the other one, so you can try to make that V-neck. Chain 1 and you can cut off the end, but try to leave a little bit long yarn tail for attaching your V-neck together. To perfectly shape your V-neck, you're going to do so with a yarn needle, but actually try to sew that other part that you have brought on top of the other one. Attach it to the project with a yarn needle. To attach the bow tie, I'm using this fabric glue.